Hello.
Can I have a motion to open the meeting? A first, Lisa, a second, Alex. All in favor? Let us all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Tonight is a work session to review the budgets of the following departments: the Cold Spring Harbor Junior Senior High School, Technology, Buildings and Grounds, and Security. All right. We will start with the high school. Mr. Dambusky.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'm proud to share what we're calling affectionately our 2026-27 flight path, which we consider to be somewhat of a strategic roadmap to ensure that every budget decision is aligned to student growth and long-term success. The investments that we're going to talk about tonight are focused on three core priorities: expanding rigorous and relevant curriculum, strengthening authentic hands-on learning experiences, and supporting faculty expertise and instructional innovation. Here at the Junior Senior High School, our mission is pretty clear. We want to ignite passion and inspire excellence in every graduate. The budget you're going to hear about increases this evening are not simply about maintaining programs, it's about intentionally investing in experiences that prepare students for an increasingly complex and competitive world. We prepared our presentation to be kind of delivered in two different formats. The first focusing on really the end goals, which is the graduation and transition of post-secondary. And with that, we worked very closely with Jeanette Alamia and the Director of Counseling. The three pillars of this strategy: board education alignment, early preparation, and informed guidance. The work is grounded in those guiding principles, right? Alignment with board ed priorities to ensure coherence and accountability. Ensuring early preparation means we're not waiting until junior or senior year to support our students. We're building readiness from the start. And third, informed guidance ensures that our counselors and educators are equipped with the most current real-world knowledge to guide our students most effectively. Together, these pillars strengthen one of the most critical experiences for our families, the college application journey. When we talk about the college application journey, some of the increases you see in the budget deal with obtaining first-hand insight into the increasingly complex and competitive college application process. One of the most strategic investments we can make is in our people, particularly our school counselors. We consider this the knowledge multiplier, right? So when one counselor visits a college campus, the insights and the experiences that are taken away from that visit don't remain with that one individual. It scales across the entire department. It's shared with every student and every family that our counselors support. It allows us to go what we like to call beyond the brochures and the websites. It gives our team first-hand understanding of the current admissions trends, academic expectations, and institutional culture, as well as institutional priorities that translate directly into better guidance for our students. One of the most important components we talk about with respect to the increases in this are targeted visits for our counselors. And these targeted visits, it's incredibly important to understand, these are data-driven visits. We're aligning our efforts with where our students are currently applying. While the Northeast remains a very strong focus among our graduates, we are seeing clear trends towards the South, the Midwest, and even the West Coast. By following our students' journeys, we ensure that our investments are responsive, relevant, and rooted in real student needs and not assumptions. In order to kind of plan, and Jeanette did a truly fantastic job planning really a 5-year trajectory of what these increased college visits for our counseling staff would look like, we really crunched some of the historical data. We went back, for example, just over the last 5 graduating classes. So since the class of 2021, our school has filed over 13,500 college applications. The top 10 schools that our students are applying to are SUNY Binghamton, Penn State University, the University of Virginia, Clemson, Boston College, the University of Michigan, Villanova University, Cornell University, Fairfield University, and the University of Maryland College Park. So you can see that the plan for our counselors to be able to start to really branch out and do targeted visits to where our graduates are applying to go to college to provide as best an experience for our students and our families throughout the counseling process. You know, the college application process, having just gone through it last year and currently being in the throes of it again this year, to say it has become increasingly complex and increasingly competitive, I think is a bit of a gross understatement. Our students are feeling the pressure of making the decision about what's next. So we consider it to be an incredibly wise investment in giving our counseling staff the best tools to be able to guide our students. With respect to the investments in our counseling department and these increased college visits, you know, the admissions relationships, they're direct investments in our students being successful. The access to these visits is about opportunity, it's about strong relationships with colleges, it's about deep institutional knowledge. They're not extras anymore. Those are essential tools that our counselors need to help our students navigate this increasingly complex admissions landscape. Another area, while we don't have directly targeted as a slide that you'll notice an increase in this code for counseling, is our vocational training, our occupational education. So next year, our projected enrollment is 12 total students enrolled in vocational or occupational education. And that's a balanced cohort between Wilson Tech and the Long Island High School for the Arts. For example, we have 6 current students that will be returning into Wilson Tech, and we have 6 students next year that will be returning into Wilson Tech and Long Island High School for the Arts. There are 10 total students that will be studying Wilson Tech, many of whom are enrolled in the aviation program for Republic Airport, and 2 students currently who are interested in attending the Long Island High School for the Arts. We then transitioned our planning away from that end goal, and now we talk about the nuts and bolts of how we get there. And for that, one of the biggest increases that we saw, thanks to Kim and her guidance in the Office of Curriculum and Instruction, is really an increased attendance in conferences. Our teachers need to be attending the best conferences. They need to be attending conferences that are nationally recognized. Some of the ones that we have on the slate are the NASSP National Principals Conference for the administrative team, the NCTE, AMLE, NCTM, ACTFL, and STANES, all very important conferences. Participation in these conferences provide access to national best practices in secondary curriculum design, instructional leadership, student engagement. It provides our educators with networking opportunities, career pathways, interdisciplinary learning, student leadership programs, and mentoring. Again, all of this aligns with our goals of increasing teaching to mastery, supporting innovative instructional strategies, and improving program quality and student experience. In order to do that, we have to talk about the learning environment. The fact is, learning environments matter. They matter tremendously. When we look at where we wanted to see improvement, we are continuing to expand with the breakdown of the traditional classroom environment of desks and rows. We really are focusing on continuing to roll out about 3 classrooms per year where we update our furniture to be more flexible. Our goal, we really want to be able to provide our students with the opportunity to engage in collaboration, discussion, project-based instruction. These are all skills, those human skills, the ability to work together, in pressured environments. Those are things that our students are going to need in college and the workforce. So we want our classrooms to reflect that. We also want our classrooms to break away from a traditional sage on the stage model where the teacher's in front of the classroom and just prophesizing to the students in the room. We really would like to see our students more active. You know, in an ideal world, let's get those Chromebooks away as much as possible and have our students interacting with each other and pushing each other. And for that, we would focus on some increased training for our staff with respect to Socratic seminars, having them really take a step back and using that opportunity to facilitate conversation between the students in the classroom. The second area that we talk about, the physical agility investment, is a Luxido port projection system, which I will show a trailer to, and then I'll come back to and kind of explain some of the I guess we'll say the goal with respect to that. No. Where's the mouse?
On the keyboard.
On the keyboard. There it is.
It did work.
It did work.
That's what they always say. Sure.
Do you get the arrow when it pops up, Joe?
That's what the kids say.
Yeah. That's where it works at home.
It did work.
It's in,
Can
it's
you
us today.
escape out of it?
Yeah, I can pull up.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to pull up the trailer?
Good idea.
Yeah, and then just see,
It's worth seeing.
yeah. Misspelled YouTube, you misspelled, yeah. Misspelled. There you go.
I should have brought my glasses.
You online?
No thanks.
There you
You don't buy a mattress every
This
day.
is not the core projection system.
More intelligent. We make
It feels like it this week, though. Put something
When the
on.
lights go down, when the lights go down, that's the dawn.
Oh, it was just so awesome to feel the energy in the room.
The fan experience is second to none. It really affects everybody, from the fans, the players. It's just an awesome experience for everyone.
You're coming to see more than just a basketball game.
The kids love it, coaches love it, the community loves it even more.
The live in-game experience is unimaginable at a high school level. And the fans, I think, feel more engaged and feel more connected to the experience as a whole.
It's as simple as pressing the button. You can operate from just about anywhere at any time. As long as you can press play, you can use it. Working with Tuxedo was painless. They took care of all our questions. They answered them up front for us. The way Tuxedo presented it to us, they were just absolutely spectacular. So it was a dream for us, and they kind of made our dreams come true.
Where we are? Yeah. So now, while on first glance, it might seem as if we're talking strictly about a system for height videos. I look at this as a large-scale interactive learning lab. The curricular crossover that you could have with a system like this is endless. And what I mean by that is we have a sports media club that has really started to take off. The sports media club could be directly involved with team media days. So, and it's not only for basketball. I know all the videos, all the coaches that they interviewed in that video are basketball, but our field house is used for volleyball, it's used for wrestling, it's used for basketball, it's used for pep rallies. It could be used to help choreograph dance routines for our cheerleaders. This is something that when we talk about the interactive component of it, in graphic design and digital media, students are learning how to use professional software like Adobe After Effects to create custom animations, light shows, motion graphics specifically mapped to the court's dimensions. Our technology students and math and science students could be involved in analyzing the actual layout of the court and determining the appropriate measurements for some of the projections. Journalism, broadcasting. The system integrates with all school media programs, allowing students to produce these videos, player introductions, interactive visuals that mimic professional sports broadcasts. Physical education. Educators can project dynamic boundaries or custom fields directly onto the floor for specialized PE programs. Students are gaining hands-on experience with advanced AV technology, including 4K projection, mapping, system calibration, cloudware, software management, and problem solving. In a lot of the interviews that I saw as I was looking into some of these systems, every single person that they interview talks about the best part is when something goes wrong, the kids learn how to fix it. And it's not something that you call the company and they step in to fix. Now the company is there as a resource, the company is there to support and onboard, but the students really are the ones involved. And one of the interview I saw, they talked about the first time they rolled it out, the audio was actually coming out of the projectors instead of the house audio. And the kids had to learn on the control panel how to change the input for the audio. These are all real life skills that our students could benefit from. You'll see some other strategic investments we're seeking are some DLSR cameras. I envision our students who are passionate about photography running sports media days for all of our teams to be able to create those intro videos for the different teams during a pep rally where the kids' faces will be on the court. the computer programming, right, computer science courses, and understanding the back end of the digital software. Sorry, I'll go to the next slide so you can continue. You know, all of those things, again, they touch so many different content areas in the classroom. It's not really just about the hype video. Now, the tangible effect of it is the environment at the sporting event, the excitement around it, and really could be something that I think could get our students pretty excited. The authentic exhibitions that our students are engaged in, we're expanding opportunities for students to create, not just consume. I think our society has become too focused on consumption. We want to really empower our students to transition away from consumption and go back more to creation. Investing in full production workflow, from capturing digitalization of production. So the cameras, the scanners, the printers that you'll see, the increases that are all directly tied to the media lab, the media arts lab extension phase 2. All of those are designed for our students to be able to engage in authentic work, digital journalism, media production, public exhibitions that mirror real-world creative industries. These are the kinds of experiences that build skill and confidence for our students. At the same time, we talk about some of our dual ecosystems and continued innovation in the STEM field. Also directly related to the media arts extension, we're seeking some investment in some Bamboo Lab 3D printers that will be housed not only in our tech program or for our robotics students, but really to be able to use them in some of our art classes for creation. And directly related to that, and probably what you would notice in the budget is one of the larger increases, is really the next phase of continuing to expand our new marine science wing, and that is the return of the coral reef propagation lab. The target date would be to have the equipment installed by summer 2027, so that our summer research students would then be able to be involved directly with the rollout of that coral reef propagation lab. Biological environmental sciences, authentic research opportunities, connecting students to the global environment challenges. Again, pathways that are emphasizing innovation, inquiry, and real-world application. We talk about our curricular expansion. We have new courses that have been approved and are generating quite a bit of excitement. AP Business with Personal Finance, AP Cybersecurity, and pre-AP English too. Our curriculum must evolve alongside the world that our students are entering. These new courses reflect access to rigorous learning while also equipping our students with practical transferable skills, financial literacy, digital security awareness, and advanced communication skills. Together, the initiatives ensure that our students continue to graduate not only with strong academic outcomes, but with the skills, experiences, and creativity outlined in the portrait of a Cold Spring Harbor graduate. Every investment in this budget, we feel, comes back to one question, and it does this investment support our students in becoming a Cold Spring Harbor graduate? It aligns expert educators, modern learning environments, professional tools, authentic learning experiences, and rigorous coursework into a cohesive system. It's not a collection of isolated initiatives. All of these items that I talked about are all directly connected to the long-term vision of a Cold Spring Harbor graduate. Any questions? Yes?
So at the end of these presentations, I guess, Dr. C, there's no price tag. So when do we find out? Because this sounded great. I love the innovative thinking, and I think we're trying to modernize what we're teaching, which is, I love it. But I have a question for these guidance trips, professional development trips. One, also, if we ask guidance counselors to start traveling, teachers to go on these PD, is that in their contract? Is that above and beyond? And we'll start with those two questions first.
Okay, absolutely.
There we go. All right. So the budget that you have access to, that we've updated, that has the different tabs that are divided on the bottom. If you look at the guidance tab, you will see that there is money allocated for the guidance counselors to go on these trips, which would include their extra pay that they might get for overnights. It would include their hotel costs, if applicable, airfare or mileage reimbursement, depending upon their mode of travel, as well as a daily allocation for meals. So this is all a part of board policies as well as the teacher's contract, so it's a combination of the two. And Jeanette really worked hard to make sure that the numbers in there were as accurate as possible based on her projections, knowing that over the years, I mean, she budgeted for next year, but she's also shared with me that over the years, depending upon student choice and what's happening with colleges, that the plan may shift over time, which as it should be a living document.
So will those numbers tie to a specific number of trips?
Yes.
It has
Yes,
trips. in it.
well, you won't see those details, and we can provide that for you, because what you see in the budget spreadsheet is the total amount that was budgeted for next year. But if you're interested in the breakdown, Jeanette can definitely provide that to us.
Yeah, well, I just
So you
would
can
be
see where
interested
we're
to know
planning on going.
How many trips does
Mhm.
that dollar amount get us? And
Absolutely.
So and the team is okay with going on these trips, both administration for the okay, and then.
And then your other question was about the details of what was in Mr. Dambuski's presentation. So if you go to the high school, junior, senior high school tab, you'll see the cost of these various items that are in his presentation. There's an actual, so one of the wonderful things about the way that we're doing the budget this year is that it's not just a number for a line. So if it's for contractual expenses, you'll see a breakdown underneath of what we're projecting. If it's for general supplies, you'll see the same thing, or instructional resources. So you will see Luxido there. And so what you can do is when you open up the spreadsheet, and I recommend that you open it in Excel, not looking at it in Diligent. If there's a button there that says open in Excel, so I recommend that. And then you can do Control F. And you can look, I would go to the junior, senior high school sheet, hit Control F, and you can search for any of these items, and you should see a breakdown. And if you don't, you can always reach out, and we're happy to provide that.
Is Luxido in partnership with the Booster Club, or we're paying the full ride? I thought that was something.
That's us.
Yeah, it's not connected to anything with the scoreboard.
Floor.
That's a system that we budgeted
Something that we
for.
put in for.
That doesn't mean we couldn't approach them to see if they want you to help sponsor a fun part of all of it.
Mhm.
No, I think they might be actually looking into that too, so there could be synergy.
This
there.
this
Is that something
isn't.
that would be attached to the bottom of the scoreboard?
It's a series of projectors that actually get attached to the rafters of the, so they come in, they map out your court, they tell you where you need the projectors installed, and then they will do all the install. I mean, the extent of the work that our team would need to do would be pulling data wires, things like that.
Could you pull up these tabs for us while we're talking about it to get a sense for the cost, or how does that go?
I
Just
am
look
not
along
sure.
on my computer in the budget?
It would be helpful to have numbers kind of with the presentations, but
We can definitely.
I thought we had them with the West Side and the Goose Hill and the Lloyd Harbor presentations. Did they show up and down?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're used to. That's what we're used to seeing. This is where it will go up, this is where it will go down. I will say that I think it's pretty standard, like for college counselors to go visit colleges. It's really important. I'm glad to see that there's more of an effort there and a focus on that. It's excellent. I'm curious also the cost. That looks cool, Mr. Dambuski, the whole floor animation thing. I am curious about the cost, and I guess we'll have to compare it with athletics too, because I know there's some questions this year about like girls' sports, the junior high and JV teams, like not even having new uniforms compared to other teams, and then to put this cool projection on the floor, I wonder how that will resonate with the parents, and particularly of female athletes.
Okay.
On this page, for the new courses,
Mhm.
Do they require us to bring on any new staff, or we have staff already?
So we have staff, we also have, we have retirement in the English department, so, and we have retirement in the social studies department with an employee who I believe is on the preferred eligibility list to be recalled. So none of these courses result in increased staffing in those content areas. There is a little bit of right now with AP Business with personal finance, because it really could be housed in a couple of different content areas, social studies, math, or business. Depending on how that plays out, you might see a minor increase in math if it's a math teacher who takes it.
So with all our classes, we're going through the scheduling process right now. All the recommendations by the teachers have been made in meeting with the guidance counselor. Then want to make whether they're electives, when to take elective A, elective B, how full the schedule is. So we typically stay within where we are. We know we're going to be, but it may be a little up, a little bit down, depending upon, sometimes we call those ugly breaks. You get 33 in a requested, it's 2 sections as opposed to 23, or you got that 29, it's a lot of students in a class, we want to keep that at 2 sections. So a lot of that is just where those numbers fall.
The Luxido system is $30,000.
$30,000.
So can I just address, I'm sorry.
Is there subscription with that too?
It's not a subscription-based service, so it really is a program that we would have in-house and be able to train our students.
I mean, it does seem cool for the kids.
It's
to
a
learn
projection
how to use it.
system,
Yeah,
so
okay.
it's a one-time cost.
Okay.
And
And
then,
that sports media club is really
Mhm.
cool. Yeah.
I'm even imagining like the arts, like all those immersive like pop-up things that you see in the city.
Yeah, oh, that's a great idea.
know,
Like that Van Gogh thing you walk through, and yeah.
It brings everybody, all the different activities come together. Our kids are already taking photographs at different sporting events. They're ready to run the board we have at events like for volleyball and for basketball. It's just another level for our kids to have that, who aren't on the court, to have involvement in everything going on.
Just a random question about Luxido. Does it have any, does it have anything associated with, educational? I mean, yes, this is all educational, but I'm imagining like, a map, like a floor map and.
So that's all my understanding of it, and I have not had them come in and give formal estimates, because again, it was still very much in a proposal phase. But my understanding is that when they come in to do the court mapping, that they're doing it very hands-on with people in the school. Right, so they'll come in, they'll take the measurements, they'll make the recommendations to where the projectors get installed, and then when they are ready to start programming, they are there as a resource for kids to learn the material.
But like, can you possibly purchase like, the history component, and it'll show, people like Pangea breaking up across the floor, something like that?
You can design whatever you want. One of the demos I saw for a homecoming event that was honoring the 1982 basketball state championship, put video from the 1982 basketball state championship on the court. So you can program whatever you want into that system.
Right. I'm just thinking like, kids that aren't in these elective courses, would they be able to, take advantage of it as well? I have another question. Some of this stuff is wish list, would you say?
Right, like when we prepared our budgets, we prepared our
Yes.
budgets with our hopes, our dreams aligned with our vision, so.
I didn't see
It's
it.
in there.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's in the, if you look online, it's included in the budget.
Yes, but I didn't see anything about the cafeteria.
So the cafeteria, while
What do you
we
mean by
are.
cafeteria?
Do you mean a
I know you wanted to
redesign?
redo the
Oh,
cafeteria.
it's gonna
That
be
wouldn't be in the
That's
junior
capital.
senior.
Oh, that would be.
That's capital.
That would be.
That's capital.
Now,
I
we
did
do
that at the
have,
last meeting, Lisa, so that's something
Yeah.
else we're looking at, but it's under like the umbrella of capital.
Okay, 'cause
we do
previously
have some
it
minor
was-
improvements that we consider, right? Like
Yeah.
you saw, like the senior commons was one of the areas that we talked about with flexible furniture. So the senior commons with the vision of also kind of maybe being able to use some of the existing senior commons in the junior high cafeteria to really kind of revamp those spaces. Those are things that we would, like the furniture, we would be purchasing, but the overall redesign and structure, I believe, my friend Mr. Wolhoff would be in charge of that.
So is the flexible furniture for the new commons in this budget, or how does that?
Dan has flexible furniture and classroom updates in this budget currently for 3 rooms at $54,000 total.
So that would include.
So, and again, it is a wish list, and, we know that we've been pretty transparent with the board about how not everything that is in that budget that you are currently looking at, and I'm sorry to say, not everything in Dan's presentation or everybody else's presentation can be realized. So there will need to be some cuts made to the expenditure side in order to be able to balance revenues.
Is this something that the theater kids could use?
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, it's housed in the field house, but if you think, for example, like our fall drama, right? I mean, it operates on the same kind of wavelength as that short throw projector system that we have in the pack that's able to put those projections on the screen. It's just kind of it's a more advanced, larger scale version of that. So if you're talking about student productions and they wanted to use, they could be able to use it and be able to use the court mapping to design their floor that they were looking for.
And we're looking to continually expand these skills. We accepted a donation at the last board meeting to redo the Lloyd Harbor TV room. Unfortunately, about 3 weeks just before our incident last week at Westside, they were working on their video production area, which was in the CLL. So, we see there's a tremendous interest starting in 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th grade. So this just feeds into, they'll come with more skills, and it's what our kids want to do.
Was there anything in your budget that was sunset to, you don't need anymore? Are you lowering expenses to offset the increased asks?
Yeah, we had a couple areas where we saw decreases, right? Obviously, with the now families opting out of receiving mailings, we certainly cut our postage requirement. We still do have the Pitney Bowes machine in the main office because we do have some things that we need to physically mail a hard copy, but we do have areas within the budget where we saw decreases as well. And there are, this was the first time where we broke out every single content area and department out of, right? In years past, it was just the general high school budget code and all of the departments contained within that. So now you'll see the code, but then you'll see breakout subcategories. Those are the individual departments.
And Mark, I apologize, we did discuss this at the last meeting, that you'll see in that budget, I think it's 145 pages off. We really went very detailed, and I really want to thank Allison and Joe and everyone, Joe Dragon, who was with us before, in recoding a lot of stuff to really maximize our aids and grants and money from around the state. And there may be still some adjustments. Rihanna could talk to it, I could talk to it through technology. We push to get more stuff we could to buy through BOCES. It may not be there yet, but in 3 months it may be added, so we buy it through BOCES, which actually means it may be cost a little bit more this year, but we get the aid back next year, so it's a net win overall.
I have a question. Will there be improvements made to the band room, the carpeting in there specifically? Is that included?
So there's areas of the building where we've kind of identified we want to, carpets and schools historically don't really go very well together. You talk about indoor air quality. I have been making a concerted effort to remove as much carpeting as physically possible. Just last summer, we ripped out the carpeting in the math office, put down a composite tile flooring. We did that in the chorus room about 3 years ago. We pulled the carpeting out of there. We've talked about doing it in the band room to get rid of the carpeting that's in the band room as well.
So is that in there to be remove all the carpeting and refloor the band room?
It's not specifically identified, but that is an area that we can definitely do.
Okay, because that's like all ripped up.
Yeah,
There were a couple of
cold
codes
base
in bad
around
shape.
it.
Bad shape.
Yeah, definitely in the building condition survey, when Eric and I were walking through, and Dan, we noticed that, and it's noted as.
So any areas, like, that's just one area I happened to see when I was helping out with the play, but is there any other areas that we're not talking about that need improvement like that we're hitting in the high school or in these buildings?
One that is particular, that it's not in Dan's budget, but we started to talk about it with the architect, is the art room. So right now, AR8, if you're familiar, that's the art room where Miss Oswald is, and it has all the computers in the back, the Macs. Looking to break through was used, it was a art gallery, it's been used for robotics, it's been used for so many things. Storage sometimes is to recapture that space, so a teacher can see the students in both locations, can still be overseen by one teacher, but giving more space to art students. Right now, it's really crammed in there. I look at my art classroom when I was in high school. It was much larger space, providing more space for students to do the work that they can do.
But that already we saw as part of the capital budget, right?
That
That's
we're looking
not
at
in
as
here.
that's not.
what the
There are
cafeteria-
components in here. That's the
So-
part that says Media Lab Extension or Media Lab Phase 2.
Gotcha, so just like the flexible furniture
Correct.
in the cafeteria or the senior commons.
Equipping
rather,
the space is things that we would do from the building.
That's in here.
Right.
Got
But Dr. C, what's the percent increase of this part of the budget year over year?
Of the budget for the high school?
No, for Mr. Dambuski's section.
I'd have to get back to you on that, with the exact percentage.
Okay, good. Like, again, with these, I know we have tabs and stuff, but like simple metrics like that would be helpful, just
Okay.
so we could see what asks are bigger, smaller, try to figure it out.
So you want, at the next budget meeting, if I just make sure I understand, you want, with those tabs that are in the spreadsheet, just an overall over/under where we're going up and where we're going down?
Yeah, like in security, if they have a bunch of asks
Mhm.
and their budget's up 10% versus this is up
Yep.
2%, now this is
Understand.
gonna be a smaller, but at least we could see the proportion of the growth of
Sure.
the individual subsets.
I can provide that to you in advance of the next budget
Okay.
presentation, and then if you want
I
any more
think
detail,
it's
you can let
what we
me
do,
know.
not just percent, but dollar amount,
Dollar
because some
amounts, yeah.
budgets are relatively small,
Mhm.
while others are
And,
much
and
larger.
again, even I think just the cost of initiatives would be, I mean, I know it's just that, it's just, maybe, I'm not trying to be lazy, it's just easier if we have it in front of us.
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely, we can do that. And if you do go back to the first presentation that we did for the budget, there was one slide which gave you a breakdown of the major areas that were going up. So it was near the end of the presentation, and I did break that out for the board, but we'll get a little bit
Yeah,
more
not-
granular.
I'm
We'll
sure
give you
we
over,
were given
under.
it. I'm sure we were given it. It's just there's so much information.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Unless
Of
it's right in
course.
front of you, it can be lost.
Not
At
a
least-
problem.
At least by myself, I'm not gonna speak for others.
We want to make it as understandable as
As
possible, so we're
user-friendly,
happy to help.
Thank you.
Any
course.
questions and any additional information you need, just helps us as we go through the process.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else, please? Thank you. Thank you. Then you guys can go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clearly, I'm already forgetting things that we did last week.
Wait, that wasn't last week.
I wasn't there.
But I'm saying that like,
I
that
don't
seems like so long
remember.
ago.
Technology is next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool cover.
Yeah, I love it. And I like all the stuff that people are doing with this.
Well, I wanted to introduce you to our newest Seahawk. This is our technology Seahawk. Not only is he or she a Seahawk, but also very technical and does tech support as per the headset. So this was created compliments of AI. I can't take credit. I basically went to ChatGPT and said, please take our Seahawk and make a logo for our IT department. Then I gave it some other commands and it came up with this really nice Seahawk. So the guys are really proud of it. Everyone's using it as their email signature in the department, and I feel like it's just a new direction for us. So thank you, everybody. I'm just going to share with you some of our very exciting technology things we have in our budget. As Mr. Dambusky had already shared, everybody comes with their hopes and dreams, and a lot of times it includes technology, and that's where we come in. So we try to make everybody's dreams come true, and sometimes we can, and sometimes we can't, but we do the best we can. So some of the more boring things that I do have to share, but these are some very important things that are in our budget. We do have some infrastructure needs this year, so as Mr. Monastero had shared, we always are looking for ways to leverage our funding. So every 5 years, the FCC gives us like a pot of money. And based on your school district, you get a certain percentage of that money that you're able to purchase and then get that money back. So we purchase through BOE, so we can kind of double our money, which is really nice. So some of the wish list items that we've added in here for this year are the wireless controllers. So if you see all the Wi-Fi in this district, they work off these access points. Well, the access points are all in the ceiling, but it needs a big controller to tell it what to do. So that's where these wireless controllers are getting close to end of life. So before that actually happens and they start to fail, we'd like to replace them using some of that FCC money through BOCES. And in addition, we'd like to add on top of that an appliance and a program called ClearPass, which really is helpful for us to connect devices to the internet, to know what's on our network, and to be able to secure it even more. So that's where those wireless controllers and ClearPass come in. The SAN drives, in this current budget, we actually updated our SAN server, and we kept the old, it's called chassis, but we kept the old case of it. All we need to do for this next year is replace all the drives, so that way we have a backup server over here we want to move to Goose. That way if something happens to the high school, let's say there's an emergency, power outages, flood, fire, anything that could possibly happen, at least we'd have some other place off-site where all of our files are stored.
and that's just a precaution, but it's really just best practice to have your backup there somewhere where all of our files can be. So that is another thing in our wish list. Also expanding the exterior Wi-Fi at the junior senior high school. We have been going around on the property just checking out to see where on the outside areas there's not Wi-Fi. And we've identified areas that are on the tennis court that we'd like to get better coverage of. So this extension of the Wi-Fi would take the signal that we currently have at the pump house, which is where we put our license plate camera. We want to be able to beam that over to the tennis courts, and then also to get some better eyes on the parking lot, on the other turf where the other, I don't know how to describe that back upper
turf.
the upper turf lot. So that's where we want to get some better eyes on there. So those are two areas that we identified. Also, there's a spot over by the, it's not exactly at the maintenance shed, but it's not the senior lot. There's an area there. There's also some weak spots, and we want to be able just to make sure that we have strong Wi-Fi on that campus. So that's another thing that we have added in there in our wish list, as well as UPSs. So these are battery backups that go inside of every rack. And when there is a little power spike, usually these are able to pick up the charge and everything continues to work. And you have to refresh these every so often. So what we're looking to do is expand our UPSs and also refresh some of the older ones. So they've come out with some newer models, lithium-ion battery ones, and we're looking to see if we can take some and swap out some of the oldest before they do fail. So those are our true infrastructure desires. Now on the instructional side, so the hardware, this is the stuff that most people know about, but we do have a replenishment cycle we're working on for our iPads. This year what we'd really like to be able to do, because we're coming very close to not having iPads to swap out for broken iPads in our elementary, our primary center. So what we're looking to do is start the replacement of our iPads only in first grade this year, and then next year we would go to kindergarten. So swapping out the iPads, so it gives us also a stockpile of spares in case we need them with honor boxes, and also are continuing on with our replenishment of our Chromebooks in grades 4, 7, and 10. Of course, those Chromebooks that do get taken back from students from the 7th graders and the 10th graders, we're going to roll those down to our 2nd and 3rd graders and replenish those. So that way everybody gets almost a newer Chromebook, and then some of them get the newest. We are also working on starting our replenishment of Promethean boards from when we first installed them here. We're looking to do 20 boards this year, so that way we can get on a cycle, maybe every year do 20 boards, and that way it doesn't increase the cost too much. The iMacs in the high school music lab, there are Macs in there. The class that Mr. Guarini had used to be a very small class. This year he has more students, and it seems like next year he's going to max out that class at around 12 students in that music production. So we're looking to replace all the Macs in there and give him 13 upgraded 12 student stations, 1 Mac for the teacher, and then take those, some of those Macs are good, some of them can still be repurposed, some of them can be spares, but we're going to then roll those into other classrooms. So they're not going away, we're just going to repurpose them so we can still continue to use them. But the problem in that room, and the reason we do have to replace them, is that they are different models, and some of them can update and some of them can't. And when you have students working on projects and trying to update your GarageBand and you can't in a music class, it causes trouble. So we want to be able to give every student the equal access within that classroom. We're also looking to replenish the document cameras at Lloyd Harbor West Side. Last year we did, or this current year, in this current year's budget, we did all of the ones at Goose Hill. So now we're working our way up and getting them there. And also going to be working with teachers next year on strategies to best use those document cameras so they're not just overhead projectors. So there's strategies included in that replenishment there as well. For the printers, as Mr. Dambuski had mentioned, there are some areas where they're looking to refresh their spaces, especially in the art wing. So this would include where we come in and we give them all the newest printers that they could use for their programs. And also there are some in classrooms that do need to be replaced. So that's included here in the budget. And the last thing I included in here were the 3D printers. I did include those in my budget. I just have to check. I don't think Mr. Dambuski has them in his budget. I think they're in mine, but I just want to double check. But these printers, the plan was to give the high school the better of the bamboo printers, and then we're going to take the 2 current ones they have there, and we're going to roll them down to Lloyd Harbor and 1 to West Side. So they get 2 newer printers that are less than a year old, and then we can still work on that replenishment cycle for that. All of these things you see here in front of you are actually part of a multi-year that's through BOCES.
So yes, as Mr. Monastero said, we're gonna purchase these through BOCES. It might be a little bit more expensive that first year, it's a lease. But the good news is over those 4 years after the lease is over, we own those devices and we can do what, keep them and we don't have to pay anything more, but we get that state aid back. I believe it's around 40% is what we get back from 45%. So that's a good number to be able to get back through BOCES with our purchases. So those are on the instructions. So here now, this is just a general list, and I wanted just to give you just a little bit, some of the programs I've seen this year where they're either newer or they've increased in cost this year, and I'll explain a little bit why. But MOVE is something that we've used starting this year at the high school, testing it out. Mr. Taliente, I know you got to see it live the other day as the kids were coming in and their passes were printed at the front door when they're coming late to school. It has really reduced the time that students are taking to get into the building significantly, getting them into first period class, so it's worked out well. We also had a cyber audit, and one of the things they recommended was that we add in there some real-time IT asset inventory software so that anytime anything gets plugged into our network, it registers the MAC address on that device, so that way we actually know what's on our network. So that was one of the things they did recommend. And they also recommended more in-depth penetration testing. We do have penetration testing from the company that oversees our network. We have minor penetration testing from the Department of Homeland Security, but basically what they recommend is that some outside company that's not associated or working within your network comes in and tries to go after you and see what they can get, and it gives you a better idea of where you are in terms of cybersecurity. So that's something that's a bigger ticket item, but it's in here in this budget. We also saw some increases with our Microsoft licensing. Microsoft made some changes. Our A1 licensing that we've had for years and years is going away, so we actually had to purchase this year the A3 license, and what they said was, in October, they started to say, we're going to start phasing out our licensing. They didn't give us a date of when our licensing was going to end. So we had to go and purchase licensing that we weren't expecting, and now we have to plan to replenish all that licensing for next year and year after year. So this is just a trend of where software companies are going. In addition, the one below it, the Omnissa VMware, these are a company that used to be joined, and what they did was they split up, and it was painful for us because here we had to pay double for our software last year to be able to run our virtual desktop environment. So this is something that we've been trying to get more accurate pricing on and haven't got anything yet from our vendors, but we're assuming that it's going to be just as expensive this year. And we've brought in some great programs this year. OnShape has come in our STEM program. Inner Orbit has come in our STEM program. We brought in things like mystery writing to do a demo, which is going to be continuing next year for ELA. Rocket Solutions, now again, if you see the name next to it where it says athletics, elementary, whatever, those aren't mine, but I wanted to share something like Rocket Solutions, which is in my budget. It's through athletics, and this district has this great problem where we have too many championships. So they need to be able to put those somewhere because there's no more room for banners in Fieldhouse. So this program would then start to use a video display around the building to be able to show all the championships and all the awards that athletes have won in this district. So that's something through Mr. Bongino. The Alertus is something that we have, it's our lockdown pendants, but it's also our connection that we have to 911. We have to pay those annual fee now, the annual fees. The Forecast 5 belongs to the business office, but it's another way to look at data and to project out budgets. And we have the very exciting rewriting of the report cards this year for grades 2 through 6. The K1 report cards look fantastic, so now in the budget for next year, we've included to have the report cards done for our Lloyd Harbor and West Side students. And I think really that's all I have. It's a lot of stuff, but does anybody have any questions? Yes?
So can I ask you questions about Rocket Solutions, or should I hold that for?
I don't know much about it, so what has happened here is because it is something that is digital, it's ended up in my budget, but it only is housed there. So I really can't speak to, I wish I could, some of the programs.
I think I could give most of it. Mike maybe would give a little bit more. They are digital screens that we really put whatever we want on, but it's records. It could be how we're doing in the year, the last game scores, videos. It's really a record keeping that puts it in a nice presentation way for people to view wherever the screens are located.
Is it like a digital trophy case?
That might be a very good way of saying it.
Okay,
Digital
that's what, I know my athletic director at my school always talks about a digital trophy
Yes.
case. I have all the trophies right now on like the windows in room, they're beautiful, they're crystal, but it's.
It's
Yeah,
like a
it's
slideshow?
No,
It's
so
interactive.
it's also, yeah, so it's also like it scrolls, so it goes based on everyone's PRs. So like, for example, in track and field, if they're making PRs, or for
Do we know
the-
anyone who just had a very successful track and field
Right,
running nationals?
exactly.
Maybe.
At the Armory, New York City.
Claire Delaware PD.
So names of students' school records, right, would all be placed on this, and it would be a rolling screen and interactive, where you could tap on things and actually gain access to updates and other things. It's really, really like a digital old school bulletin board, right? So we're converting that into modernizing it and putting it in you know, in terms of athletics and championships and records. So
We have so many records and so much data, you could really go, oh, I want to look at track, I want to look at swimming, I want to look at fill in the blank. You touch it and you go and see all that information. It's pretty cool.
What's the cost of, do we know the cost of that?
I think the software itself was around $5,000, and we're trying to see if there are ways that we could use it with current touch screen boards that we do have in district.
$6,000.
6,000.
6,000, okay.
yeah, so you use the existing screens, and you're buying the software package to use with our existing screens, which is nice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, what you'll see is that as Joe explained, that we've moved things around in the budget to maximize BOCES purchases. So when you get the numbers of the over-under, you will see the technology budget is up by quite a bit, but that's really because we endeavor to move items from other budgets into technology whenever we can, so that we can get that aid. It's a significant amount of aid, correct. You make the purchase next year, then we get the aid in the 27-28 school year. So next year, we're gonna get aid on everything we purchased through BOCES this year.
How much of a check did we get this year from previous purchases, do we know?
No, but I can find out.
Okay, just curious, because there's always a tale, it sounds like, hoping we purchased a lot then in the past, we'll be getting a check.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I do have that figure for you. Hang on, that's in our state aid run. So in our state aid run, BOCES, this past year, we got back just a little under 1.6 million. We're projected to get back next year 1.666336, so 1,600,000. So it goes up. We've been seeing it going up each year. We have a 5.27% increase in our BOCES aid from this current school year to projected for next school year.
That's spending related though, right? So
Yes, those are spending related, yes, yes, but we're spending that money, so we are buying these programs. We're not buying the programs just to get the aid, right? We need these programs for teaching and learning, and we are just trying to maximize the amount of aid that we get back.
And just wanted to also point out too, with the FCC money that we do get, you know, we would lay that money out. We had laid out the money for the switches. We did all our switches last year. We ended up getting a check for $47,000 back from the FCC, from the government, for money that we laid out for that, plus also the BOCES aid. So it works out, you know, we try to leverage that money as much as we can, and we just kind of sit there and wait until that 5-year marker comes, and we're already planning on how we can spend money on refreshing fiber and doing all these things that are really going to be good for the district, but also save us a lot of money.
Right, we spent about $340,000. I remember that was the last one. We probably went through that in the first 3 years, and we were waiting for 2 years to get the new money. First time, really, the government actually made it a little more looser how we could use it. It used to be very determined by X in each of the buildings. They've given us a little more grace because they realize, like for us, a lot of it resides at the junior, senior high schools. It's physically there, but impacts all the other locations. So luckily, they've seen and allowed us to use the money a little more flexibly.
And that's general use reimbursement? We can use it on whatever?
No. Oh, not the FCC money.
Not the FCC money, but the BOCES money, yes. That's a part of our state aid package, so we can allocate that money however we see fit. It's not restricted in any way.
And the FCC money comes back as revenue.
And in the instruction and technology, like programs, the programs themselves, if we see vendors in years past that were not under BOCES, we really encourage them to go through BOCES so that we can maximize our BOCES aidable refunds. So that's something that we're seeing, like if they were not contracted through BOCES in the past, I then reach out to them and say, have you done this through BOCES? And we kind of shuttle them down that pathway.
And so do you too, right?
I did, and that's how
Diana
On
does
Shape
that
ended
too.
up in the BOCES list this year, which is
I know
good
you're
for
a big
us.
advocate for that, yeah.
Anybody else have any questions or anything I can help explain? Okay.
No, I just wanted to make a comment. I think the testing, the penetration testing is so important. We're doing that now where I work too, and it's ongoing, and it's, I think, really been very helpful to people. And I know that there's lots of stories about schools who have had some sort of security penetration. So thank you for that. And also the Seahawk is super cool. I'm going to show it to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law who went to Cold Spring Harbor also, and they love our Seahawk. So
Yeah,
they'll like this one as well.
We've already used it for branding on our summer intern backpacks, where, you know, everyone's gonna get their Seahawk backpack. They've gotta return it at the end of this season, but I think it'll, you know, change a little bit about, you know, looking at IT as the bad guys that, or bad girls that always block everything. You know, we're here to be helpful too and to bring new things to you.
And we could, if you want to speak with me on an offline, some of the cool things we already do for cybersecurity, I wouldn't want everyone to know out there.
Right.
That's pretty amazing.
We'll keep that in our back
We
pocket.
do, yeah,
Mhm.
so
Very
we
wise.
could discuss that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, right.
Mr.
I
Wallace.
didn't think that.
You're up.
Eric?
Yes, we're very happy to see the Seahawk on as much as possible. All right, so moving on to building and grounds.
To the members of the board and administration, I say good evening, and I also want to thank Brianna for my maintenance and grounds Seahawks and custodial, so she's keeping us all up to speed on that. But my budget is pretty straightforward. I just wanted to account for the cost of escalation, whether it's for fuel, power, supplies, or contractual codes that go up like that. But for the most part, what you will see kind of across the board in my 1621 code is just for equipment. I put in for, they had it in already for a scrubber, and looking at the needs district-wide, I was thinking more of getting 2 walk-behind scrubbers versus 1 big ride-on scrubber, because they serve much better, whether it's in classrooms, small spaces, and they're more readily used. And also athletics had asked me if I could have purchased 2 additional field lights for the different events they have throughout.
If I could, Eric, I just want to say one thing. I think everyone needs to remember, I know everyone here does, this is like day 45 for Eric. And in the interim, we've had 2 major snowstorms in an event at Westside last week. So, and he's just really understanding the district and needs and whatnot. So there's a little like flexibility we're learning here. Like we're gonna talk and then we have a major snowstorm.
You really got thrown in.
Right, we're gonna do this and then other things happen. So I think, you know, we meet every day, including Saturdays and Sundays recently.
Thank you.
But he's been amazing with his group and getting everything going. So some things may flex a little bit here because, I don't know. It's been, thank you, Eric. It's been great, thank you. So, sorry.
Yeah, it's a project at Westside really is going to make a difference for the students and stuff, for how that works out. So the biggest difference as far as in my code was a substantial increase in the 1621 equipment. And so this is a presentation here. The one thing that I did leave out, I forgot to, is that they had asked for a mower. They wanted a large area mower. I found in all of my previous districts where we had a 15-foot, a 12-foot, a 10-foot mower. They cut so slow, they're cumbersome, and if you don't have air conditioning, it's annoying on a 90 to 100 degree day. So several years ago, we went with the Ferris. They cut it 12 miles an hour, independent suspension, and the guys almost fight over using it. So I have that in the budget, and with that, this is...
looks brand new.
No, no.
It looks like what I drive to the
That was
train
a mower.
station.
So now we're on to a tractor. So this is our existing 2008 unit. And for a farm, coming from my Kansas background, this is a nice sized tractor for a farm, but for a school, it's a little oversized. And so it's seen its life, and we're waiting. We've been waiting almost 2 months on a control because we weren't able to use this winter for the snow removal and such like we were hoping to. And so anyway, with that in mind, I wanted to purchase a newer, slightly smaller unit. Our main use for this, outside of snow removal and such, and 5R, maybe moving 5R and such, is basically one attachment that goes on the rear, what's called a 3-point hitch. It's an aerator, and we use it for playgrounds where you have soil. And by breaking up the compaction, the soil is much softer to fall on, and it does away with your weeds naturally. So I'm hoping we have the nice unit, but I'm hoping to implement that on our playgrounds on a regular basis, and our sports field as well. And the other device, because of the amount of trees we have, and again, from my farming history, this is what's called a telehandler. The nice thing about it is, unlike a bobcat, a skid steer, because both wheels turn, they tear up your soil much less. What's called a skid steer, bobcat, when you turn, it just really messes up your turf, so it's not a piece you want on a school. This one is very nice, and I tried to get all of the equipment with as many uses as possible. So you see on the front, it has a set of forks, but with this, it has the broom attachment, the fork attachment, the bucket attachment, the grapple attachment. On the lower left is a platform. So the working height for the minimum I wanted to get would be a 20-foot working height, which means if you're 6 foot tall, you're working at 26 feet off the ground. The next size up that the budget allows almost puts us at 40 feet working height. And so just whatever attachment goes on this one will also go on the previous blue tractor. So that's why I wanted to keep the makes the same and the size approximately the same, so that all of these attachments could be used throughout. So again, you'll see that both of these throughout the year for snow removal, tree, brush, everything used on the fields. And for also the banners you see at the high school, the parking lot lighting, things like this, we'll be able to use district-wide for making those repairs.
And I would say, and Eric's really been working with this equipment, so there'll be less outside contractors coming in, that we do the work ourselves. So ultimately, we will be saving money.
Yeah. So in my past, when I was in East Islip and also in East Hampton, a lot of these equipment that we have, especially with the backhoe that we have, we would cut roadways, we would excavate playgrounds, we would prep, we would remove asphalt. So, and many of these things that would come up on a bond project, we automatically already have the bid for what that part of demolition would be broken out for, a line item for that. And we just decide, here, this is what it's going to cost for us to do with our equipment on our time, and it's always a substantial savings compared to contractual bonds, profit, and overhead. This is one of our existing vans. It's been around for years, a lot of mileage on it, and from the interior and stuff, and the rust on the body. With our new crew, what they've asked for is one more vehicle like this, and the nice thing about the KUV model, it speaks about the cab on the back. It comes with a walking height so that a 6 foot individual could walk into the back to get tools and supplies. Also, keyless access from the outside for those compartments on the outside. And the nice thing about these trucks, we can use them for snow removal as well. So we're getting away from the vans and going to these so that they're never sitting around. Another multi-purpose use piece of equipment is the Kubota. And the one we have, this is the oldest one. We have 2 of these. This is the oldest one, but they did not order it with hydraulics. So basically, the only thing we use this one for is salt spreading, and it's seen a pretty good life on it with the repairs going up. So the new one I want to order is a similar size, but it has hydraulic mechanisms on the front and rear for rear attachments and for front for whether it's salt, blowing, snow removal, whatever that may be. And on the back, this is the type of unit that we use on the turf field for attaching groomers for doing the turf grooming. And again, these are the attachments that go on it, whether it's both front or rear, and the various processes that this machine gets used for. And that's it. So, like I said, that was the biggest thing. One of the most substantial things that was cut, though, was basically projects, a line for projects, because we're doing so much more with transfer to capital. So that went down significantly, but that's it. Questions?
Any idea how much all these vehicles cost?
Yeah, we have all that breakdown on that. Like the KUV truck, that was priced out this year is like roughly $85,000. The telehandler, this one is going to be in the 20s. That was 85. And this one is depending on the unit I get, will be between 70 and 90. And then this tractor is probably going to be between 40 and 60.
But you're gonna be able to do a lot more in-house rather than pay outside contractors, right?
That's it.
So, yeah.
Turf care,
I
we
know
want
we've
to do
been-
all the turf care, whether it's the sod fields or the grass,
That's
all of
great.
that. And because the only thing that we can actually have, like Land Tech come in and do, is they lift the infill. So for as long as we're going to have that infill, whether it's on our ball fields, baseball fields, or soccer fields, we need to regularly, they come in maybe twice a year, we should be doing it once a month. Lifting that material up and putting it back in place, because it makes for a softer landing. And if you don't do that, because if you walk out there right now, you'll be amazed at how hard that surface feels because of the compaction of the winter. So, yeah, but then it'll be used on the other fields as well. So, and the only thing that we can do as well, because of not needing a license, and the only thing that we could do without notifying the community for putting down for our fields, is just nitrogen. So it doesn't take a license for that, but we can spread nitrogen, we can put down seed, and so instead of doing seeding once or twice a year, we can do it 4 to 6 times a year.
That's great.
So,
And we talked about assessing our capabilities in-house and the size and scope of the projects your team can handle, because we want to do more in-house, which is why we're investing in such equipment. Have we determined if we need to add any skills? Have we done a survey of what we're capable of doing? And
the skill sets we have is pretty incredible. Every day I'm just amazed at whether it's the plumbing or whether it's the HVAC, the electrical. If you could see Vincent over there with the contractors today with the investigators and what he knew for the past time he's been here, is just unbelievable, unfathomable. So that's just his knowledge, but when it comes to anything, it's just a matter of, hey, Wolf, we can do this, we just need to buy this part and we're gonna get it done, so.
I get that, but do they have enough bandwidth and time to do what we will need them to do over the coming years, or?
Most of it is how when we roll out a project. So like I said, the project money that I put aside was like much less, but what we're figuring is when we put it out to bid, when we go out to bid, whether it's for ceilings or whatever, this is where the crews will come into play. So like the building over here, we were already with ceiling tiles, lighting, things like that to go do those things. So when it comes to whatever phase we're doing on flooring, whether it's flooring, painting, ceiling tiles, obviously we're going to do those things, but the flooring, we can do the demo. If there's no abatement, if it's regular flooring, I rent the equipment and our guys go in and demo the floor. That's a no-brainer. And the tiles are really good with, the painting, they were doing that already this week, and that's in the custodial contract. So those are the things that really, once we have an open field like we did this week, with the next 21 days, what you're going to see at Westside is going to be amazing, the changes. And a lot of that will be with our staff doing rooms that weren't in our original scope, so.
Do you think it's more cost effective to own our own equipment than to rent it on an as-needed basis?
The pieces I'm getting, like this one for the turf care, absolutely.
Okay.
And the only other one is the telehandler, so when it comes to, when you're driving up to the high school, look on your left side 3/4 of the way up, you're gonna see a tree that's probably this big in diameter, maybe 25 feet long, and it has rotted at the base, it's fallen over, but it's held up by vines. So we have a lot of that material around our buildings. And so that's something that I just wanted to see, because it's like, when you see these two pieces of equipment with the grapple, to be able to reach in 20 to 30 feet into that, to grab the poison ivy, to grab the leaves, to load that out. Around our playgrounds, it's gonna pay for itself very quickly, because, we are in one of the highest lyme areas, all of Long Island is. So when you have the brush cover that we have like this, it's important to keep that clean, particularly around playgrounds, roadways and things like that, and to have equipment like that where you can lift someone up, where they can, at the very least, tie off a tree so you can control its fall and such. So we have 2 people who are trained and certified in tree removal and care, and so, piece of equipment like this, like I said, whether it's for cutting roadways, removing asphalt, it will quickly pay for itself, especially like when we're when we make that decision to go from 5R to another surface, if we decide to, that's a payment for itself. But with our fields, that's a huge thing on keeping it up, keeping compaction down, and that's a huge thing, because when you play this much soccer, lacrosse, and all these different things where you have impacts, the one thing I've seen that made the difference, especially on the dirt, we don't think about, is making that dirt as soft as possible.
That's great.
And,
That's great. Yeah.
Many people prefer that. So.
Thank you.
So these will be in constant use, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Great.
We know somebody who wants to drive them.
She's itching. You need an extra set of keys.
Kubotas, New Holland, and I love it. Love it.
You can talk model and everything, I'm sure. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much.
All right, so the last presentation, Richard Smith, our Director of Security, unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight, but we're gonna have Mr. Montesaro step in and.
Thank you.
You stay at that microphone, I'll stay at this microphone, that might be easier. All right, Al, you can talk it off.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll advance the slides.
Mr. Smith couldn't be here with us this evening. His budget is not very complex. There's only 3 buckets for his budget. He's got equipment, other expenses, and general supplies. One great aspect of working in Cold Spring Harbor are the partnerships that we have, and because Mr. Smith and Mr. Wolhoff were able to talk vehicles, they were actually able to reduce Mr. Smith's budget because of some vehicle swapping that they're going to engage in this year, which is great. So his equipment budget is really not that big. And Mr. Montesaro, if you want to jump in at any time, please feel free.
So, but if we look at the bottom 2, the exterior door passes, this is where we use our badges to tag in each of the location. We're looking to expand that. We're going to be able to do more, again, with Eric coming on board and getting our new staff members to do a lot of the running, the work in the ceilings and like to the location, and then this is usually just buying the reader and the programming. So what we would have had it done in the past, since we didn't have the proper staff, was pay for each one was like $5,000 to $6,000 per unit. Is really brought down to the exterior units about $1,000, a little money for programming, and the running of the wire and all the other stuff that we can do. Again, doing as much as we can in-house will allow the money to go much further. Same with the security cameras, we have a really good coverage overall. There are 1 or 2 other additional locations that we want to add. We'll do as much as we can in-house, and then that final yard that needs to be done on the tech end by the company to integrate it into a system. We do as the fast passes will be used at every single location. We're looking to add this to have like almost like a portable one. So if we have a high volume event, we can take a laptop and get it going, and dip in, dip it out, and manage high volume stuff, like a Goose Hill meeting or something of that nature. We're looking to add a door jar system across in different buildings, so when a door opens, we're made aware of. Security swipe card reader systems, again, that's just more of the Solto door swipes, adding to a couple locations across the district where we need to have the door swipe we have now. I think the rest is pretty straightforward. Uniforms, some additional radios. We're moving to all digital radios. They have better range and they're clearer. Some office and guard supplies, go bags, some additional alertness pendants. Everybody, as you know, has an alertness pendant. You expect a couple to break or get lost over the course of the years. We want to make sure we have spares. If something goes wrong for whatever reason, somebody leaves it out in the rain, we're good to go. I have to say, I'm sorry, I'm not speaking into the microphone. 2 weeks ago, when we had the active shooter training on site with Suffolk County Police Department, when we showed this to the chief, he started to spread that news to all the other police officers, and they kept on coming up to us. They don't know of another school district that has this. I know of one other on the island that does. And it goes to, most districts have, or buildings have 1, 2, or 3 blue buttons to do a lockdown. We have like 500 in our district. Anyone can trigger it. Any one of our staff or our custodians or office workers, myself, administrators, everyone has one. Our coaches, they were simply amazed by this on how prepared they were. So it was really nice to have. And this is just getting some spares and keeping us, so everybody has it.
That's the
was
security
pretty
budget.
straightforward, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Any questions?
I do. So you mentioned to it, alluded to it. He wanted some new buggies to get around, so
Yes.
we're
So there's a
he's
jump-
taking the old ones from grounds and
Well,
repainting them?
what Eric discovered, and as Joe mentioned, he and I both have been here, just a few months. But what Eric discovered is that there was a John Deere that the maintenance department had that they really weren't using. And it really fit what Mr. Smith needed. So he gave Mr. Smith that vehicle, and Rich is going to, I think it's already out to get decaled up and to make sure that it's identifiable as a Cold Spring Harbor security vehicle. So then that's going to afford Eric the ability to buy a vehicle that he needs this year with his equipment money. And then we were able to take the money that Rich had budgeted for that buggy out of next year's budget. So that was a $33,000 savings because of the partnership and the communication and, the fact that we're all looking to support one another. So we really, although we're presenting budgets in buckets, we really try not to operate that way. If we can support another department, we absolutely do so. And why not have a vehicle that was really just sitting idle that Eric really had no hand in buying, and it wasn't really being used, and security can use it. So it's a win on all sides.
It feels like Rich has been here forever. It's really only been about 14 months. And that's it.
Yeah.
The transformation he has made with our security guards and how obvious our security guards with our vehicles and our cameras and updating posts and keeping everyone so safe is really appreciated. I hope he watches this video because he really deserves that applause for the work he's done and always looking to do better to make security better for our students and staff and everyone who comes on campus. I applaud him and his team tremendously.
Absolutely, and
Thank you, Rich.
he felt bad that he couldn't be here this evening. He did work very hard on his budget and make sure that it was fiscally responsible, but met the needs of the security of the district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We will now move to personnel recommendations of the superintendent, and we'll take the resignation and all appointments on pages 1 through 3 as a slate. May I have a first? Lisa, a second. Kate, any questions? All in favor? We now...
Can I just say, it's sorry to see Carol Sy retire. She's the first one. She's been in the district, I would say about 20 years, if not longer. She is absolutely amazing. She knows her job inside and out, does it right every time, and she will be a tremendous loss. I wish her well in her retirement, well deserved. She's truly be missed. She's wonderful, Carol.
She's a gem.
She's a gem and a half. She's
Everybody
amazing.
needs a Carol Sy.
Yes, we all need a Carol Sy to organize our lives.
Thank you, Joe. All right. We're going to move to business recommendations, donations. We will take the acceptance of the donations on pages 3 through 4 as a slip. May I have a first? Lisa, a second. Alex, any questions? These are donations for West Side School.
Yeah, and they're from like the children of
Right.
West Side School, from lemonade stands and.
Right, this was the money that they
Very nice.
presented to us last week that they made that day, the $1,000, so happy for that. And the first one is one of our custodians, Harry, who works at the junior senior high school. He saw what was going on and wanted to. He came on Tuesday. Getting a little emotional here. He was off. How can I help? That's exactly what he did, Harry. It was just, I'm like, what are you doing here? You don't work at West Side. I want to help Joe. That's exactly what he said. I'm here for the kids. He's a good man.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor? Okay. We will now move to the following other items. We will take other items listed pages 4 through 7 as a slate. May I have a first? Lisa, may I have a second? Mark, any questions?
All in favor?
I have a question,
Sure.
actually. Does this include, and I apologize because I wasn't at the last meeting, but there's the item in here for the Whaling Museum, is that correct? And I probably missed something because I wasn't at the last meeting, and I'm pro museums, but I just wondered, when our district overlaps in different counties and villages, how is it possible to be supporting something that's only in one part of multiple villages?
And I'll explain what Dennis shared to us, and Allison, if I leave
Yeah.
anything out, please add. He did his research in saying that we're required to have this on our ballot, not that we advertise or discuss it, we're by law required to.
Okay.
The good question about the two counties is, he spoke to both Nassau and Suffolk County on the assessors, and they do independently will do the assessing and collection of the taxes. It's not just Huntington.
Okay, thank you. That
They're
answers my question.
great questions and a lot to
Yeah.
invest. And this, I think just not a lot on there because we're in a unique situation.
Yeah, but people will ask, so it's good.
Absolutely.
I mean, you may all have found it at the last.
I'll
meeting,
get a
but
much
yeah.
more coherent answer for that we could share
So
when
are we
people ask.
approving this tonight?
This has to go on now, yeah.
I'm just curious, so when the tax dollars go to a museum, are they then required to send out notice to show where their money is going, like a library would do?
I would have to ask, that's on them. We don't give them any legal counsel because it's not ours. We don't want to advise them what they do and don't do. It's just because of how they fit in our zone, we're required to have this on the ballot. That's all we have. We're not advertising, supporting, putting down, collecting, anything else. We have nothing to do with it. We're just required to, if they ask, to put it on.
It's not an endorsement by the board.
Correct.
And-
Right, it's not an endorsement, but we're going to be the disperser of the funds. So the funds will be collected as taxes, and then we're going to have to disperse it.
And this is a separate line item that can be voted
Correct.
down. by the
Correct. It would
community.
be Proposition 2.
Now, we were going to, I thought, make it explicit that this was not an endorsement, right? Or I thought we were going to have.
This is how the proposition has to read. That would come in if anyone asks a question. We're not endorsing, supporting, putting down.
Right.
We just have to be careful on what we can and can't do, but we don't advertise. That's completely on them. Nothing we do.
I asked my question because I
Okay.
thought it would come out of on the library budget ballot over the school budget ballot, because the library is Cold Spring Harbor exclusively, and the school is also Lloyd Harbor and Laurel Hollow, right? So then when you do the tax distribution, it'll just people from Cold Spring Harbor's taxes that go?
No, our understanding from our legal counsel is that the entire district is going to be taxed for this amount that the Whaling Museum is requesting if the proposition passes. And then the assessor's office will make that determination. The money will come into the district as part of our tax revenue, and then we will be required to, disperse that amount to the Whaling Museum.
So
The mayors
So we're
of Laurel
pass through.
Hollow
We're
and
pass through.
did the mayors of Laurel Hollow and Lloyd Harbor know about this also? Because are the residents going to then ask those mayors about this?
I don't know what they
Tax
shared
money?
because it's really not us to advertise as to endorse or not.
Does it have to be approved tonight?
Yes, I'm sorry, it does, because we're legally obligated to put out our legal notice, and we have to give the papers a lead time, so we have to put it out in papers, and so this is the last budget meeting, this is the last board meeting where we could vote on this prior to the deadline.
What's the deadline date?
We have to get the notices to the newspapers by the last week of March.
So.
But before that,
Would the mayors of the incorporated villages have say in this? Is this something they should know about when your taxes are going up for something?
we were advised by legal that we cannot provide any legal counsel to the Whaling Museum,
It's not
and
legal
it's not we're just obligated to put it on our ballot.
So it says, the language was added, the inclusion of this proposition on the ballot is required by law and is not connected to the school district's budget or educational programs in any way, nor does it pertain to the.
So we don't really need to approve this. So why are we approving this? Like, if we're legally have to do it, then we don't need to take a vote on it.
Well, we have to, the Board of Education has to approve our legal notice. So that's an action that has to be done by the Board of Education, and this
So we
is,
have to approve it.
this is our legal
Why do we have to
notice.
approve it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't really
I
make
mean,
sense. Like, just put it on.
We have to vote yes.
You're saying that
I
we
can't
have
tell you how to vote.
But you
I-
are telling us how to vote, because you said legally we have to vote.
Well, legally you have to vote, but I can't tell you how to
Right, you can't
vote,
vote no.
Kate. I'm just telling you that there are timelines with regards to our legal notice, and we're obligated to put our
So
legal
what
notice
happens
out.
if, just say none of us raise our hand? What happens?
I have to
It
contact.
still goes on the
legal.
ballot, so why are we voting on it? Do you get what I'm saying?
I don't know if it will go
I don't
on
know
the
if it
ballot.
will go on the ballot.
No,
We
we
were
were
just told
told
it
that,
has to
look,
go on
the
the
language
ballot.
in here is required by law to put it on.
Right,
But
and so
the-
what's going on, whether we
It's
like it or
only
not?
March 17th though, so couldn't we postpone and then call a special meeting?
Are
to
you
vote
sure on the
again?
30th?
Could do that.
Sorry?
You sure that the date is the 30th or the 31st of March?
Could we go into could I make a motion to go into executive session to speak with our legal counsel, adjourn, and then return to public session at this point? If you want to consult with legal, we could do that. I mean, if
They're
you're
not here though.
could contact.
I could give him a call.
Contact them.
I'd like to consider taking a motion to table it, to get,
I just don't
To
feel
just
comfortable.
make
I don't know
sure
enough
that-
about it.
we're really well informed.
Yeah.
We would just need to
I
have
think-
another
yeah,
board meeting that,
Okay.
before the 30th.
I
Do you
think,
want
We could do that.
We'd have to have
We
it
could get
before
the
that
together
Friday
before.
before.
I mean, it could take 10 minutes.
Because I know it has to be to the newspapers by that Friday before. So I think that's the 27th.
So
Okay.
we have to do it.
Okay, so it would have to be before. It really should be that Thursday or earlier in order for us to get the legal notice out to the newspapers.
Okay.
Okay, so should we take a motion to table that?
Well, is this included with other stuff? Is there any?
So we'll just table
item A.
A.
Okay, so table.
I feel like there's too many different constituencies involved who are not aware of this before it goes on a ballot. And part of it's just relationships,
Okay.
right? I mean,
So I'm going to first take a motion to table just item A of other items. May I have a first? Alex, second. Kate, any questions? All in favor? Okay. Now I'm going to take a motion to take the other items, parts of the other items, I guess, items B through F. Okay, as a slate. May I have a first? Mark, a second. Lisa, any questions?
Just give 1 second.
Mhm.
Eagle Dock Agreement.
We never came to talk about it, right?
I'm sorry, was there a question?
So Kate just said, was he supposed to come talk
He was
to us
supposed
at
to, like,
Eagle
meet with
Dock?
us. Remember you said he was away?
Just to sign, he couldn't,
Okay.
he's not tech.
Do you have a question, Mark?
D we can't discuss, but did I miss something? Is this something I'm supposed to be aware of?
We were hoping to have this on the last one, we were just waiting for some confirmation we got back. I don't,
It was in the Friday bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, then I
Yeah.
read it.
Got it, yeah.
I
All
just
right.
have a question.
Because there's no name, so.
We can't, right, we
Yeah, I
can't
know,
on
I get
that.
it.
And, so the contract was, I think it was also in the Friday notes, the Eagle Dock, but
Mhm.
we're we're definitely moving forward, we're voting on that right now, to
Yeah.
buy and then rent and then pay to fix it up?
No, this will be very similar to what we have now, is a lease of the land. So we're not taking possession of it, it's a lease of the land in the area. The rowing association, they had purchased the fixing of the floating dock, and there's some upkeep that needed at the building, not much. And this is really a continuation of what we've been doing for the past 25 years, I'm guessing. I don't know exactly.
What's our financial obligation estimated to be annually? Do we know? And how long is this agreement for?
It's for 5 years.
Okay.
And it's, Alice will come up with the exact dollar amount you want to come up with the dollar amount, you have it there, so.
So we were able to negotiate with Eagle Dock. They initially wanted a certain amount, and we came to a mutually agreeable sum that will be raised each year. So in the initial year, which is this year, January 1st to June 30th, we'll be paying them a prorated amount of $13,317, which will be $6,658. That's prorated for the rest of this fiscal year. Then the following fiscal year, which is July 2026 to June 30th, 2027, it's the same amount. So we're paying them the same amount for a year and a half with no increase. And then the following years, the usage fee increases by 3% each year. So in the 27-28 school year, it's $13,716.51. In the 28-29 school year, it's $14,128.01. In the 29-30 school year, it's $14,551.85. And in the 30-31 school year, it's $14,988.41.
3%.
They
What
initially,
did they initially want?
they initially wanted us to start at $15,000 a year and stay at $15,000 a
And what are we gonna do on year
year.
6 when we start a new contract that's gonna be 20,000, 21, 22, like how does?
Well, they initially wanted $15,000 a year.
I know,
So
but I
we
don't know.
talked them down
I mean, what do they get for
considerably.
the increase? What do we get for that? It's the same, it's not like they have to do anything more, right? Like, what is Eagle Dock, like?
So the
what's
way
their
that
reason?
the previous contract was constructed with the rowing association, they had gotten an increase every year. So this is what they agreed to as far as using the land.
I mean, rent typically has an escalator a little bit, and I mean, 3's a lot, but anyway, what, is this addition, like, or are we picking up previously unpaid, I mean, are these costs we didn't pay before, now we're picking up? Or?
I don't know when the changeover was. It was originally a cost associated with the membership, they paid dues, and then 4 or 5, 3, I don't know, I wasn't here. There was a decision for the district to pick up the cost, cutting down costs for students to participate in the sport.
Right.
Right, so 3 or 4 years ago, does that sound about right, Alex?
It's only been, I think, a year, so, because hockey, maybe it's the
2 years?
second year of hockey being totally, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Totally included, and rowing was one of those.
That was
too.
added to it.
And one of the things with rowing, and we don't have our college placement here anymore, but the thought was that if we made it more accessible to everyone, that more kids might row, and it does.
Mhm.
It's a great sport, but also can help you to leverage yourself for
And-
college. So it seems like a worthwhile investment. I do think it's expensive. If you look at what hockey costs, that you'll have a heart attack. So
Yeah.
it's much more than that.
Yeah, I just was wondering if there were other options, like we're committing to a 5-year plan, like we have the waterfront center, we have White River Beach, I wonder if we could.
I was looking at, and don't quote me on the exact amount, I think if you row in Manhasset, it's $1,200 or $1,500 per student. We currently have, at the last I spoke to Mike, a lowball or a little, it's 25 students signed up for the fall alone. I think it's actually a little bit higher than it, but I'll say 25. So we're ahead of the game in what they have to do at Manhasset. Now, again, there's coaches and other expenses going along with that. We are absolutely unique on what we have here in Cold Spring Harbor, having the dock, which was originally in the house built by parents 25 years ago, if not longer.
It used to be a really big program here. It'd be
Yes.
nice to see that get built
To
back,
come back.
especially with this now, I mean, they're much younger now, but bigger grades that will potentially come through.
I think we see a tremendous amount of new interest in crew, so we're excited going forward.
Okay, but, so it sounds like before I got on, hockey got this coverage, now we're doing rowing.
Rowing was
We've always-
rolled in with the hockey that same year.
So,
We're
but,
just taking an examination, right, and really flushing out now with Joe on what is involved in what that commitment meant. Like, this is more getting
Right, what we're getting-
granularly. what we're-
Right, 'cause
The
there's-
contract just expired, so that's why it's on here. It was a 5-year or 6-year
so
contract.
we were paying it before?
Yes.
Okay. And then, what happens when the next group comes to us and says, you're paying for hockey, you're paying for rowing, now you're gonna pay for us? Where do we draw the line?
Those were the only two sports that we were requiring
No,
families to pay for.
Okay, that's it. There's no clubs or anything that are, it's like, look, that's part of
Well,
our.
they were considered like varsity sports, but families were paying $1,200 a kid
No, it's
to
not
be on a
cheap.
sports team,
Right.
especially some of us had 3-4 kids
Ouch.
playing, right? So it ended up being quite a bit.
And crew and hockey are they're sports, but they're not sports for Section 11 and Section. They're club teams. They're a little bit different in how
Are
they're
there clubs
sanctioned.
that are gonna show up at the podium and now say, we get your checkbook out?
Most clubs are really, they're in-house to do the work here. If we
It's
do.
not expensive,
Is
okay.
that, or they have the robotics team, we pay for them being transported there. 99% of the clubs, I mean, they're in-house stuff, they do the work, on campus, and we support them very well. Again, I think, as Alex was saying, it really supports those students, gives them that unique difference on their transcript to say
Absolutely.
you're not getting crew from Michigan, because, it's ice in the rivers until July.
Well, I saw in the budget, the district is now covering choreography for the cheerleaders.
Correct.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Which it should have been all along, right? Girls' sports, yep.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, like, if we have holes in other areas, maybe in the arts, it sounds like we had a hole there. We have to be fair about it if we're gonna pay for sports. Now, these are bigger, hockey's very expensive. Sounds like crew is not cheap either, but.
No.
Cheaper than hockey.
Just wait till we bring in the equestrian team.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Well, we have comp there, right?
Oh, geez,
We
yeah.
can make that work.
Kidding.
Let's do it.
You said it, Alex. The most expensive sport, equestrian.
Is it? Okay.
It is.
All right, guys, any other questions?
No.
All right, all in favor? Okay, I'm gonna take one last motion to adjourn. May I have a first? Alex, a second. Lisa will be the second. All in favor? All right, thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good.